If today you feel your life is insignificant because your pockets are empty, hear this. There was once a child who fell asleep many nights with hunger gnawing at him, shoes falling apart, and people mocking everything he dared to dream. Yet years later, those very same people were lined up waiting outside his office door. In this story, you will discover what he did differently when everything stood against him, and how you can start making that same shift today. Stay until the end, because the one decision that transformed his fate might just transform yours too. Once, in a dusty little town, where afternoons stretched endlessly as if reluctant to end, there lived a boy named Kabir. At first glance, there was nothing remarkable about him. He was not the best dressed, nor the loudest, nor the strongest. He moved through the world with his shoulders slightly hunched, as though trying to occupy less space than his heart actually needed. And yet his eyes held something difficult to name, a rare mixture of exhaustion and stubbornness, like someone who knows the world owes them an answer. His home was truly small. Thin walls, a tin roof, and a floor that turned cold as stone during the rainy season. When water fell from the sky, the noise was so overpowering that words dissolved into silence, and the family learned to communicate through glances alone. Kabir slept on a worn-out mattress beside his younger brother, its filling long since flattened into little more than compressed memory. The dinner table was rarely generous. Sometimes rice, sometimes a thin broth, sometimes nothing but hot tea to fool a hungry stomach. Nobody dramatized it, because in homes like theirs, drama is a luxury. But the silence spoke volumes of a father who returned from the fields each evening with rough hands and a bent back, and a mother who counted coins the way someone counts seconds before bad news arrives. Yet the heaviest burden was not hunger. It was the chorus of voices. Be realistic, Kabir. People from here don't go far. Survive first, dream later. Dreams don't fill a pot. Each phrase, standing alone, seemed harmless enough, but repeated day after day, year after year, they built an invisible wall around his mind. The cruelest part? That wall cannot be seen, which means no one else will ever tear it down for you. At school, Kabir always sat toward the back, not from laziness, from shame. His bag had a tear along the side, and his notebooks peeked out like they too were trying to escape. His shoes had holes, and on rainy days, every step was a cold, wet reminder, you don't have. And yet, Kabir did something that puzzled the others. He stayed after lessons to ask questions. He borrowed books. He copied entire pages by hand because he couldn't afford to buy them. When a teacher introduced a new word, Kabir repeated it silently to himself, like a key he was testing in a lock. Because even when his pockets were empty, his mind craved to be filled. Some classmates laughed. Why do you study so hard? You'll end up hauling sacks anyway. You? Great? You can't even afford lunch. Kabir smiled outwardly, but inwardly each word landed like a blow. Still, one question wouldn't leave him in peace. What if they're wrong? What if the story everyone keeps repeating isn't the only one that exists? One morning, he arrived late because he helped his father carry tools. He walked in breathless, and the teacher, without any ill will, called him to the front to read aloud. Kabir took the borrowed book in trembling hands. The letters swam slightly, not from ignorance, but from the terror of stumbling in front of everyone. He began to read. He tripped on a word, a classmate laughed, then another. Within seconds, the room had turned into a cruel murmur. Kabir felt heat rise to his face. He wanted to vanish. He wanted to run. But he swallowed hard and continued, because inside him there was a quiet promise. Today they humiliate me, but tomorrow I will understand things that even they cannot. One afternoon, after an especially punishing day at school, Kabir walked without direction until he reached the river at the edge of town. He went not because he had a plan, but because he needed silence, the kind of silence that does not judge, does not lecture, does not repeat borrowed phrases. He sat on a smooth stone, polished by years of flowing water, and looked at his reflection trembling in the current. The face staring back at him did not look like that of an 11-year-old. It looked like someone who had argued with life one too many times. He thought about shrinking, not about abandoning everything at once, but something more dangerous, making himself smaller. Stop asking questions in class, stop reading, stop imagining a different future. Accept the script others had already written for him. It was then that slow footsteps crunched on the gravel behind him. "The water does not answer when you stare at it with anger," said a calm voice. Kabir turned. It was Guruji, the old teacher who lived near the temple. Many found him eccentric because he spoke little and observed much. He had no visible wealth, yet his presence had a way of turning down the volume of whatever noise lived inside you. "I am not angry," Kabir replied, though he was. "Then you were tired," said the old man, sitting beside him without asking permission. After a long silence, Kabir murmured, "They say I can't achieve anything great, that my place is already decided." Guruji did not argue with the words. He did not soften them. He did not offer comfort wrapped in pleasant language. Instead, he reached into his robe and produced a small antique mirror, its frame worn, its glass marked with faint imperfections. "Look at yourself," he said. "I already know what I look like," Kabir replied, frowning. "No," said the old man with gentle firmness. "Look at yourself, truly." Kabir held the mirror to his face. He saw dust on his skin, dark circles under his eyes, insecurity. "I only see a poor boy," he whispered. "That is what others see," Guruji answered. "I asked what you see." Kabir hesitated. He looked deeper, beyond the surface, and then he noticed something that had always been there, an intensity difficult to put into words, a blend of pain and determination. "I feel fire," he whispered. The old man nodded. "Most people are born with that fire, but when the wind around them blows hard enough for long enough, it goes out. You have felt that wind for years, Kabir, and it still burns." Kabir gripped the mirror tightly. "What good is it? I have no money, I have no help." Guruji looked at him steadily. "Money is a tool. Fire is direction. Without direction, money is lost. With direction, even scarcity becomes training." Another silence settled between them. "People will try to cover your mirror with dust. They will tell you to be realistic, to aim lower, to know your place. And if you do not wipe that mirror clean each day through action, you will eventually believe them." "How do I wipe it?" Kabir asked. "With discipline when no one is watching, with study when no one is forcing, with work when no one is applauding. Each action is a cloth removing dust." Before rising, Guruji added one final thought. Thinking big is not arrogance, it is responsibility. If you do not expand your capacity, your family will remain bound by the same limitations that bound you. That sentence struck differently. Before part 2, one question. When was the last time you looked in a mirror and asked, "Am I growing or shrinking?" Drop your honest answer below. And subscribe and like this video so the algorithm shows it to someone who needs it right now. Because what Kabir does next is the part nobody talks about.